between 2019 and 2023. So to set the stage, I would like to share the racial demographics of Coca-Cola's headquarters and the city of Atlanta, where headquarters are situated. As you can see, they differ significantly. In 2019, the killing of George Floyd reignited social justice movements across the United States, influencing the corporate sector as well. In response, Coca-Cola made a public commitment to adopting a stronger and more comprehensive approach to DI within the workplace. That was followed by COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, which led the company into an ongoing restructuring cycle accompanied by several waves of personal layoffs. A few years later, the company occupies 178th position in the ranking of America's best diversity employers, and discrimination concerns related to Coca-Cola's workplace environment still arise from time to time, exposing the company to an increased attention from the media, shareholders, and customers. So the research question of my case study, what was the role of financial and operational challenges experienced by the company between 2019 and 2023 in the emergence and/or persistence of allegations regarding racial discrimination at Coca-Cola's headquarters. So this is a conflict map that I crafted to explore the conflict. Key stakeholders in the conflict are employees who claim racial discrimination on the one hand, and James Quincy, the company's CEO, on the other hand. Those key stakeholders are accompanied by their allies, and the conflict is developing across various political, economic, security, and social structures, which interplay with each other, creating a mixture of competitive and cooperative dynamics between the actors. So three themes appear to be the most significant in the frame of the conflict: power, culture, and social justice. I will briefly explore a theory, one of the theories applied in the analysis. So in the power theme, I would like to talk about power dependence theory, which is basically about the value each party in the conflict attributes to an outcome at stake and availability of alternatives to attain the same outcome. In this conflict, we see that although the CEO's top-down power over employees was quite extensive, his perceived power is limited due to his dependence on the judgment and views of the board of directors and shareholders on the one hand, and on the employees in attaining the financial results on another hand. Together with that, the ongoing restructuring initiatives at Coca-Cola since 2020 exacerbate employees' sense of powerlessness due to little control over their future at the company. Such a perceived lack of power may lead to mutual frustration and dissatisfaction, resulting in a breakdown in open dialogue between the actors and contributing to deterioration of trust. So the boundary model has further revealed increasing pressure on the CEO's power with respect to DEI. What started with a commitment to DEI has evolved into KPI-based bonus system for CEO and some members of the executive team tied to DEI performance. And moreover, shareholders have requested direct reporting to them with respect to DEI matters. As a result, CEO's authority faces significant pressure from the company's governing bodies, demanding greater transparency and accountability from him in addressing these issues. DAISY model has helped further to analyze and synthesize an overall perspective of the conflict of the employees claiming racial discrimination. Their experiences revolve around transactional trust between white and black employees, a lack of acceptance and fairness, and insecure operational environment caused by the layoffs conveyed through internal competition and political games over scarce resources or positions. So based on the data analysis, I have identified three needs to be addressed: need for security and need for justice on the employee side, and need for autonomy of the CEO of the company. So need for security is basically about providing employees who experience actual or perceived discrimination with a safe space for their concerns to be vocalized, heard, and addressed. And need for justice is highlight the aspiration for establishing transparent, clear, and fair HR processes related to hiring, promoting, and terminating employees. And the need of James Quissy for autonomy implies engagement and accountability of C-suite level into the DI agenda and capability of the CEO to execute power in that respect over the executive team. The strategic goal of the entire intervention is to increase transparency and accountability with regards to DI practices across the company. So here are the intervention strategies. The first intervention strategy, dialogue and deliberation, addresses the need for security. The company has never explicitly assumed responsibility for creating such a safe space for employees to vocalize their concerns. So dialogue and deliberation groups intend to eliminate this gap by serving as a safe space where such concerns could be heard and addressed. And we expect that capturing overlooked voices will boost the inclusive environment within the workplace and enhance the employees' engagement, as well as improve the company's reputation. As to the second intervention, aiming to meet the need for justice. So the proposed intervention aims to bridge the disconnect that exists between what the company claims to offer in terms of HR processes related to DI and real experiences of employees. The intervention suggests crafting and HR processes with respect to hiring, promoting, terminating employees in the frame of DI with participation of employees from various organizational tiers. And the intervention is supposed to enhance the company's policies in this respect. And the last intervention addresses the need of the CEO for autonomy. So the proposed strategy aims at creating an accountability with regards to DI at all levels, including the executive level, by influencing the mindset of the executive team. And in general, the intervention is supposed to boost organizational effectiveness of the company. This is a SWOT analysis. I'm not going into details of this analysis, just wanted to highlight that main threat relates to the current anti-DI political agenda, which has been increasingly evident lately in the United States. So to address these external threats, the company should closely monitor developments of the legislation and case precedents with regards to DI. Additionally, the company needs to be mindful about public announcement and disclosures made with regards to their DI practices. And together with that, Coca-Cola will need to ensure that employees understand that the company's commitment to DI remains steadfast despite the changing political and legal landscape. To monitor evaluations, we could involve trained facilitators and coaches who will participate in the interventions and streamline them to address transparency and accountability issues with respect to DI. Additionally, feedback tools allow us to monitor if the intervention goes as designed and if any adjustments are needed. And since interventions are extended over time, utilizing project management tools and software is also advisable. To evaluate the intervention, I suggest applying both qualitative and quantitative assessment, including measuring the number of grievances filed and resolved, measuring inclusion index, and evaluating content and frequency of the company's communication with regards to DI. So this is a network map of Coca-Cola, which reflects the company's organizational structure and the composition of each organizational level. It's hierarchical closed network characterized by status homophily. Social capital is distributed unevenly across the network with better access to resources and information at high organizational levels, predominantly white, and less access at the professional level, where the majority are Black. Limited connectivity between levels in the hierarchy leads to a misalignment of needs and incentives across organizational levels. Due to the nature of the network, internal brokers that could have addressed an existing disconnect are absent or quite weak. So this brings us to sustainability strategies informed by the challenges described earlier. It's advisable to source brokers from the outside of organizations, such as external coaches and facilitators, who could ensure better connectivity in the network. In general, the proposed strategies will help to ensure sustainable outcome and evidence that the system is effective in identifying mismatches and in aligning the needs and incentives of various stakeholders at Coca-Cola. And in addition to that, advocacy efforts with respect to DI on a regular basis rather than as one-off event could create change in the mindsets of Coca-Cola's employees on the long run, helping to internalize the ideas of equity and inclusion at both individual and organizational levels. Thank you for your attention, and I'm ready for your questions.